Hey everybody, it's your Sam. So today I want to go over a little bit about that I'm actually going to be missing a couple of days and a little bit about my research plans or how I research while writing a book. So first things first is this Thursday and this coming Sunday, I am not going to be posting a video. That is because we're going on a small vacation, a small trip, and one of those days we're actually going to be building a new desktop. Hopefully, this means that I will be able to start doing my own live streams or collaborating with others to do live streams. I know Lauren and Nicole wanted to do a couple of live write-ins with me. Hopefully they still do. I know it's been a while. I would really like to start doing that. With that being said, if you follow me in my blog, I won't be doing a blog post for this coming Tuesday and next Tuesday as well. Also with that is I am starting a new job, so I have to figure out how my scheduling is going to be and how that is going to affect my writing process and my Authortube presence. So we'll see. I'm still going to try to do videos every Thursday and Sunday. I've got a few planned out. I just haven't recorded them yet. And I'm going to try my hand at batch recording and then batch editing and then batch uploading so that I don't really have to worry about it the day of, like I have been doing here recently. So yeah, I did want to go into a little bit of my research process during my book writing or my drafting. Usually when I come up with an idea, now my ideas, some of them come from dreams, some of them come from just random things, some of them come from movies or books that I want to explore into some little side character or some little side story that they didn't really touch up upon, and it just forms in my head kind of thing. So once I get an idea, I try to get an idea of what setting I want to put this story in, and then I start my research from there. So with I'm No Hero, it's a fantasy world. It's a world that I created and made up. So my first process with that was actually making a map and throwing in a couple of settings so I can build a scene or scenes out of those settings. And then what I did was I tried to figure out what kind of cultures I wanted. A lot of the cultures that are in I'm No Hero are Persian, Egyptian, Middle Eastern, and Indian based. They're kind of mixed in together. They're kind of a conglomeration of all of them. I've tried to create like a religion-based system and food system and colors and just different ways of, or their ways of thinking, and kind of mushed all of them together a little bit. So to kind of create this unique culture. I hope it's unique anyway. I did do some research before I started drafting on Persians, Arabic language, and things like that. Now also, there were the different races that I needed to consider too. So I have 4 different races. I have humans, I have Welkans, I have rogues, and I have the Stygra. Now the Welkans are not part of a Persian, Indian, Arabic culture. They're actually more based on Cherokee. I grew up near a Cherokee reservation, and there were a lot of people that I grew up with that had Cherokee blood in them. I thought that I had Cherokee blood in them, but according to my recent genetics test, that is a lie. So yeah, I'm no longer Cherokee. But anyway, that particular race is Cherokee. I thought that the Cherokee race or the Cherokee culture, their language and some of their beliefs would meld well in with the way that I want to write the culture of this world. And I use some of the Cherokee language. Like I said, it's kind of it's a mashup, it's a mix up. It's not exactly true Cherokee language, but it's based off the Cherokee language. Just like my one character, Austere, I've made him a bit more Egyptian, and a lot of his words are Egyptian language based, Arabic, should say Arabic based. I hope this is making sense. So I also did some common phrases such as, darling endearments, and talking about the weather, talking about colors, talking about culture, talking about other people, and just general phrases that an everyday person might say to their everyday friends, and tried to come up with verbiage that my people could use that is based off of Arabic or Indian or Cherokee. And I wrote those down. It's going to be in a series Bible, and in the future, probably around Christmas, January, or something like that, when things kind of get a little bit more stable for me and I have a little bit more time again, I will do a series on my series Bible so you can see these things. Don't forget that you have to kind of look up religions, look up clothing, look up their history, how they evolved throughout the ages, their thoughts and beliefs on how they treat, do they have priests, how they treat criminals, how they treat those that are different, such as they're disabled, or such as they're anxious or depressed, or something like that. You have to kind of do a little bit of research as you go along, depending on what your story's going to be about. Just take that into consideration, make your notes. If you can, reach out to people of that culture that you're basing your culture off of, or that you're basing your character in, and get their input too. A lot of my research is done while I'm drafting or after I'm done drafting. So there are days where I don't feel like writing, but I feel the need to still work on the project. So the days that I can't really write, the days that I'm pulling 240 words in an hour when I usually do about 1,000, and it's just not coming. I can't focus on it. Those are the days that I do the research. And therein again, pro tip, not that I'm a pro or anything, but if you come to a point in your drafting and you realize that you need to do a little bit of research, put a placeholder there. Don't stop. If you're in the flow of writing, don't stop your writing flow in order to research. Put a placeholder there and just come back to it. You can always edit it later. On slow days, a lot of times I'll go back to where I know I had a placeholder, and I'll do research on that so I can kind of fill that in. Other things is if I know that I'm creating a new area or a new person or something, and I want to base them off of, say, an Irish person, then I do a little bit of research, and you do a little bit of research on looks as well. You create a character board for them if they're going to be like a major character for that section of the book. Now, I don't really create character boards for characters that are only going to last for a scene or a chapter. I do create character boards or notes for a character if they're going to last for at least 3 chapters, sometimes 2. Depends on the impact, really. But if they're going to last for about 3 chapters, then you kind of want to have some notes so you can reference back to it, especially if your characters are going to run into them again. I have a captain of a ship right now. He was in the first book for about 5 chapters, I want to say, maybe 3. So I did a character profile on him and his first mate, but he's circled back around. He was in one of the last chapters of the first book, and he's also in a couple of chapters of the second book, which I'm drafting now. So that's the reason why I made a character board for him, is so that I wouldn't be writing the same captain, but all of a sudden he has brown hair and green eyes instead of, like, I don't know, blonde hair and brown eyes or whatever. Another thing about research, it can be a rabbit hole. So set up a limit. for yourself. If it has to be time-wise, set up a time limit. So you're going to, you do your planner or something like that, and you know that you want to write for 2 hours. You have to be at your job for 8 hours. That's already 10 hours out of your day. You're going to have to sleep at some point in time and eat too. Maybe you can block out about an hour of research. Know what you need to research. That way your research time is efficient. Also, another way that you can limit your research to is, I find this trick might not work for everything, but if I can find 5 pages on a particular subject, then that's enough. I can go from there. Especially since I'm writing fantasy, because I'm not writing that particular culture as its culture. I'm basing a culture off of this culture. Then I limit myself to like 5 pages or like 30 pages in a book or something like that. I pick what I need and go from there. I don't read through an encyclopedia on this. Now, if I was writing like a historical document, a historical story, like a romance or something like that, then yes, I would do as much research as possible on that culture. But since I'm not really delving into that life, I find that like 5 pages to 30 pages of research is enough. That's just me. Another thing, just remember your time limits. You are a writer, you're not a researcher, so you have to make the time to write. You do have to make time for research too, but it doesn't need to be overpowering your writing time. A good way to put it, I can't remember who said this. It was one of the famous authors I know, but they said they break it down into 45% writing, 25% research, and the rest was editing or revising. So I honestly, I cannot remember who said that. I'll have to Google it, and if I find it, I'll put it somewhere up here on the screen. I thought that was a good judge of, how much research you need to do, kind of thing. And again, it was a fantasy writer, so there you go. If you're writing more of a historical thing, or if you're deep into that culture, into a particular race, then yes, do more research than what I'm saying. But this is just how I do it. I will see you in a week and a half, give or take. I'm really going to miss being, on YouTube for like the 6 or 7 days. I'm still going to kind of be around. I'm going to catch some live streams here and there. I'm going to catch some videos here and there and do some comments, but it's not going to be like I was in July, where I felt like I was everywhere all at once. So yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome week, an awesome 2 weeks almost kind of thing. And do remember a few things for me, okay? Black lives still matter. Be kind. It doesn't take any energy to be kind. It doesn't take any energy to support someone else. All you have to do is a couple of clicks and you share a video on why Black Lives Matter. You share a video for a friend who is trying to grow their author platform or their YouTube platform or something like that. Support one another, and remember to always take care of yourself. Remember, you have to drink water. Remember that you have to get a little bit of exercise in and a little bit of stretching in, so that your back doesn't hurt and you don't start getting carpal tunnel and all that good stuff. So remember to take care of yourself and take care of each other. Love you guys. And I will see you in a week and a half to 2 weeks, give or take. And hopefully it will be in a live stream, and hopefully I'll be able to do some collabs or something. So if you're interested in doing that with me, hit me up in a comment below, and I think that would be awesome. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more things like this and see my goofiness and giggliness and whatever it is that about me, whatever. Yeah, that. And writing content, I do that too. Yeah.